This is English shorthand dictation number 116 and the dictation speed is 140 words per minute. Ready? Start. Honorable Chairman Sir, I rise to speak on the finance bill for the second time in a row, and I would like to congratulate the Honorable Finance Minister for presenting this finance bill, which is in line with the budget he presented earlier this month. Yesterday, one of the honorable members said that there was nothing much for the common man in this bill. Under the leadership of our Honorable Prime Minister and our Honorable Finance Minister, the UPA government has already taken up the flagship programs of crores of rupees and have also ensured that at least 37% of the total plan allocation is spent on the social sector and an additional 25% of the total plan is spent on the rural infrastructure in order to make sure the common man is well taken care of. By lowering the income tax brackets, the finance minister has already done a good service to the middle class of our great country. We have seen that the recession all over the world has affected the GDP growth rates. In most of the countries, the GDP growth rates were only 1 or 2%. With the stimulus the Honorable Finance Minister had given last year, India grew at 7%, which is one of the highest growth rates in the world. To create more employment for the common man and also to ensure that the GDP grows at over 9%, it is important that we involve more funding in the infrastructure segment. Investments can come either by disinvestments or by foreign direct investments. But our Honorable Finance Minister has given an additional tax incentive of Rs 20,000 crore for investment in infrastructure bonds. This will help small income groups also to become a part of the infrastructure development of the country. The micro, small and medium enterprises contribute nearly 45% of the manufacturing output and 40% of our exports. Hence, the amendment enhancing the monetary limit from Rs 40 lakh to Rs 50 lakh for compulsory tax audit not only recognizes the healthy growth in the economy in the last few years, but also is needed to provide relief to the small businesses in the form of reduced compliances. Enhancement of weighted deduction from 150% to 200% is a welcome move to encourage research. The amendment involves a change in definition from scientific research to research, which is making the encouragement to research more broad-based. I have a suggestion in regard to the income tax relief. We are a country with significant mineral resources and mining is an important activity. The economic growth is also measured specifically with mining as an important element. A lot of workers in this segment have a hazard allowance of Rs 800 per month. This amount was fixed several years ago. Inflation has gone up, but this amount has not been increased. In my constituency, there are a lot of coal mines. I specifically request that this exemption be increased to Rs 2,000 per month, considering that no revision has taken place for several years earlier. Honorable Finance Minister has announced that the Direct Tax Code is in the process of finalization. One of the important modifications in the Direct Tax Code is in respect of the retirement benefits of Provident Fund, Public Provident Fund, superannuation, gratuity, etc. The proposal released are not very clear in respect of the transition to new tax regime. It appears that credit to Provident Fund account is exempt and it is not clear about superannuation and Public Provident Fund. It is important that being a welfare measure, this issue needs to be looked into during the process of finalization. Yesterday, one of our colleagues has said that too many services have been brought into the service tax net. However, our finance minister has already announced that the general sales tax will be implemented shortly. Whenever all the services come into this, there would be a smooth flow towards implementing the general sales tax. Considering the SEN-VAT chain is already extended to all levels and to all industries, levy of service tax on additional services will not increase the cost of goods and services. The SEN-VAT on capital goods is extended from 50% to 100% in the first year for the small scale sector. This will alleviate the hardship of the small scale sector, which is generally starved for working capital. As we are aware, agricultural production and agriculture based industries should be encouraged. We have a target of over 200 MT of agricultural output this year, and the Prime Minister and the Finance Minister have already implemented a scheme providing nearly 55% of the drip irrigation which is taking place in the rural areas. Our Honorable Chief Minister is also giving a subsidy of 45% on the drip irrigation program. If the excise duty exemption is given for the drip irrigation, cases of suicides of farmers will definitely come down. Our colleague was saying just now that there are several suicides taking place in the farming community. Actually, it was during the Telugu Desam government that several farmers' suicides took place. However, after the Congress government came, we gave the free power scheme and farmers are no more committing suicides in Andhra Pradesh. Telangana region in Andhra Pradesh has been given a stepmotherly treatment by successive state governments. Because of no jobs in Telangana region, a lot of people are going to Dubai doing menial jobs. As you are aware, global recession has affected them. Most of them are coming back to their hometown, but there are no jobs available. Many of them are committing suicides. They are unable to get any jobs and are under severe mental stress. It is also seen that Telangana area contributes over 50% of revenue in Andhra Pradesh, and there is a need that much more needs to be done through the Honorable Finance Minister by giving a package as was given to the Bundelkhand area. I would also request that 100% income tax relief is given for units being set up in Telangana region except the Hyderabad city, so that the people of Telangana have an opportunity to be part of the growth process. With these few lines, I support the bill proposed by the Finance Minister. I would most humbly like to ask the Honorable Finance Minister whether this positive turnaround in the economy is capable of improving India's position in the Global Hunger Index. I would like to know if this would be able to change the figure of India, which is housing 33% of world's poor. I would like to know whether this finance bill and the taxation proposals have got any relation to address the needs of crores of citizens deprived of basic education and minimum health care. While passing the finance bill and the taxation proposals, we cannot ignore the recent countrywide strike called by the Communist Party and some other parties for reducing the price line of essential commodities and introduction of all-out state trading of essential commodities and sale through PDS in fixed and fair prices. If one considers the strike even a partial success, then it surely blackens the government's claim of its economic success. Sir, inflation concerns the consumers, but at the same time the Finance Minister placed it as an essential companion of economic growth. The Honorable Finance Minister has given some miserly concession in direct taxes to the taxpayers of upper bracket. The taxpayers in the lower and middle brackets received very little benefits. I would like to strongly suggest the revision in the slabs, but the burden of indirect taxes which affects the entire population of the country from prince to pauper has been increased heavily. The rise in petrol and diesel prices, which has been effected by increasing the customs and excise duty and the decision of deregulation of prices of petroleum products, has raised the prices of every essential item of livelihood and derailed the government's control measures on prices and inflation. Moreover, failure to collect taxes from the corporate houses and companies to the tune of rupees 13,000 crore in the last fiscal is a failure of the government and proves further the soft attitude of this government towards the corporate sector.